Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Munce Report as we preview a big weekend of racing for the team. It's already been a big week for the team with a series of jump outs that were rescheduled from earlier on in the week to this morning, and also a couple of winners in the mix, mate. You had LV Cassidy booting home Twerk and also Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah, he's in good form, Larry. He's riding really, really well, and he's ridden quite a few winners for us in the last fortnight while Justin's been away. So it's been good, and the horses have all been racing quite well, which is pleasing.
Yeah, I think that's 3 winners from his last 5 rides for the stable. So certainly making the most of the opportunity there.
Yeah, and I like putting Larry out because he can give you a bit of constructive feedback, and he's certainly been around long enough. It gives you a good guide on how the horses are going, and he's very confident in his own assessment of a horse and his ability when he rides them.
Very good. And he's also riding a couple tomorrow at Eagle Farm where you've got 3 runners engaged. The first of the runners is Arthur in Charge, who's partnered by Ronnie Stewart, who's ridden a lot for you in the past, not so much in recent times. And Arthur in Charge, he's the guy we spoke about last week. Arthur, he is making his debut for the stable. Was set down to run last week, but obviously the meeting was abandoned, so he gets a second shot here.
Yeah, well, obviously when they got called off, we were sort of scrambling for races to run him in, and I just thought being the 3 weeks between runs back to the 1200 was probably a more suitable race than the 1400, and that was only Class 3, the 1400. But the Eagle Farm 1400 is quite testing, and I just thought maybe with the 3 weeks in between, the 1200 was a better option, and the fact that he's drawn well, I think certainly helps him. He's able to just get a nice run wherever Ronnie wants to put him, basically midfield, something like that. And after that, it'll be up to Ronnie just to navigate the path where he wants to go in the straight, because he's very healthy and he should be able to finish his race off quite strong for him. And
Ronnie's obviously ridden plenty of winners for you in the past.
Yeah, well, Ronnie's a good rider. He's been around a while, and he's very consistent when he gets on the right horses. He seems to give him a good ride, and I'm sure this horse will give him a good ride.
Very good. We'll see how he goes on debut. The other 2 runners will be both partnered by Larry Cassidy. Smooth Move lines up in race 6, a Class 3 plate over 1,400 metres. He's, of course, the last start Eagle Farm winner at the midweek meeting.
Yeah, well, I mean, he goes up to Saturday level now, which is obviously a bit of a step up, but he's drawn very well, which I think will suit him. It's been actually nice this weekend to draw some good gates. I have to make the most of it because I don't often get them. So the fact he's drawn well, I think, gives him an opportunity to find a spot just behind the leaders. And if Larry can just, same deal with him, navigate the right path and get to I would probably say the middle of the track would probably be where they normally get to. It seems to be the most consistent part. He should be able to finish his race off really well. He's done terrific, this horse, since his last start win.
Yeah, he's obviously someone that you've identified as has a bit of scope.
He has, and he just seems to have taken that next level step now. He's a big, strong, strapping horse, and he's very tough. So, I think he's just drawn to give himself the right run, and I'm sure he'll be right there in the mix somewhere in the finish.
Very good. The final runner on the Eagle Farm program is Escape to Paris, who was an uncharacteristic run last start at Ipswich in the feature race there, the Gay Waterhouse Classic. Larry back aboard her. So have you sort of put your finger on what may have happened there? Obviously, it was a bit uncharacteristic by her standards.
Yeah, no, I haven't. You're right, though. It was very, very uncharacteristic of Skate. She's always very genuine, and I don't know whether she just got back too far and the race wasn't run to suit. And she didn't get beat all that far in the end. I think her closing margin was only 3 or 4 lengths. But, I mean, the fact that she sort of couldn't maintain the speed early was a bit of a concern for me. But, look, she's won at Eagle Farm. The 1400, I think, will suit her, and she's obviously drawn a bit better gate as well. So I'm just hopeful that Larry can utilise that to his advantage. Not that she's a leader or anything, but same sort of deal. If she can be back off from midfield, something like that, or just a little bit better than midfield, she could certainly quite easily turn her form around and be competitive in a race like this tomorrow.
Yeah, fingers crossed. One to watch, because obviously on her best form she would be competitive. The Gold Coast on Saturday, 1 runner engaged there in a stable newcomer, 3-point missile, makes his debut for the stable, and another one that's drawn a good gate, barrier 1 for Michael Murphy in the maiden plate, the opening event of the day at the Gold Coast.
Yeah, I hope he's able to utilise it. Not that he's a real speed horse, but he's a bit of a hard-going fellow, and I'm just hopeful that from the one gate that he's able to jump and utilise it to the best of his ability, and hopefully just be behind a couple of horses and switch off a little bit. He's just far too aggressive, this horse, even in his work of the morning. He's got loads of ability. He's quite a good galloper, but he's just got to turn his mindset around and relax and learn to finish his races off. If he can do that, a race like this certainly wouldn't be beyond him.
Okay, well, interesting to see how he goes on debut. Then moving over to Sunshine Coast on Sunday, you've got quite a number of runners boarding the float here. Tiptoes lines up in the cutest 3-year-old fillies maiden plate over 1,200 metres. Not so fortunate with the barriers there. Gate 12 for Michael Murphy.
Yeah, really nice filly. This big, strong, plenty of depth about her. She'll still run, even though she's drawn poorly, only because it's at Caloundra, and it's as I've said before, it's a lovely big track for them to get educated on and have a good experience for their first day at the races. So she will go around. I just think she's a filly that's got a lot of growing and developing to do. But whether Sunday's her day or not, I'm not sure. But she's certainly a nice filly for the future going forward.
Okay, race 4 is the cutest 3-year-old Colton Gelding's maiden plate over 1,200 metres. Big field here, and you've got 3 runners engaged. Latin Prophet, who's drawn barrier 1, no jockey booked as yet. Trip Tonic, barrier 3 for Ryan Maloney, and Jabali Gold gets a run from gate 5 with Michael Murphy engaged there.
Yeah, well, they've all drawn really well, haven't they? And I think Latin Prophet, he's probably one of the most improved horses in the stable from where he's drawn. He will certainly give himself a good chance. He's not a speed horse by any stretch of the imagination, but he's certainly a strong finisher. And I thought his trial and a jump out have been very, very good this time around. So he'll certainly be an improver. Trip Tonic, I'll put blinkers on him tomorrow. He just lost interest his first start. He disappointed me in the way that when he got back, he just seemed to lose focus and concentration. So he's a lot better than that. His trials have been better, and I'll be hoping that Ryan's able to put him in a positive spot there right on the speed somewhere, either in front or in the first 4 or 5 anyway. And I'm sure if he can get into a spot like that, the horse will run a much improved race. And Jabali Gold, he's a horse that I mentioned last time. He's a work in progress. He's certainly he's learning his trade. I thought his last run was a little bit better, but he'll probably go to the paddock after Sunday to think about life, and then we'll assess him more after that.
Okay, and just touching on Triptonic, yeah, you obviously you mentioned prior to his debut that you thought he had ability, and so that was a bit of an uncharacteristic run. But you're thinking he'll be better for that experience and also the gear change.
I'm sure he will, and I think the blinkers will certainly benefit him. He's more than ready. I just think if Ryan's probably a bit more assertive on him out of the gates and can hold a spot, as I mentioned before, right there on the speed, either in front or in the first 4, he'll run a much improved race on Sunday.
Okay, race 6 is a benchmark 65 handicap over the 1,400 metres. Outback Gladiator is a last start winner we've spoken about previously. He jumps from barrier 9 with Michael Murphy booked to ride.
Yeah, he's improved out of sight, this horse. He's just going to be a lovely mile, a 2,000 metre race. He'll be mucked around a little bit by wet tracks or lack of races for him. But I think even though he's only won a maiden and he goes to a benchmark 65, whatever it is, I think he's a horse that he's improved enough to be competitive in a race like this. And so long as he's finishing his race off strongly, we'll be able to step up then to a mile going forward in the coming weeks. And I'm sure, he's a sort of horse, he'll get out to mile 2,000 metres and then you'll see him at his best.
Okay, very good. And then the last run on the program potentially is Phoenix, who's entered for the benchmark 62 handicap over 1,000 metres, but is also a dual acceptor for the Lismore meeting on Monday. Obviously, just waiting to see what happens with that scenario and the borders and anything going on in the world at the moment.
Yeah, well, it's all a bit up in the air, isn't it, with this coronavirus and whatnot? But if the borders are open and we're still able to go to Lismore, I would suggest that he might go down there on Monday. I think even though he's drawn 10 down there, it seems to be a much more suitable race for him. But if there's any notion that they won't be able to, or we won't be able to get down there, well, he'll run at Caloundra. But he's a sort of horse. He's taken a little bit to get him fit. I don't think he'd been completely fit up until now, but he galloped very strongly through the week, and I think he's on the right track going forward now.
And he's benefited from a trial recently also.
He has. He's proved out of sight with the trial, and he's a sort of horse. I just think he's needed a bit of work under his belt to get him fit, and I think he's on the right track now.
Okay, very good. Lismore, the other runner there is Woolsey, who's entered for a benchmark 66 handicap, but no jockey engaged as yet. What are you thinking there?
Yeah, well, that's the same sort of scenario. We just got to wait and see whether the borders are going to stay open and whether we're allowed to travel down, or the horses are allowed to travel down at least. And I've just got to keep my options open. But she's certainly going a lot better than what she was first up, where she just knocked up late.
Okay, very good, mate. Well, that's the runners for the weekend. Obviously, the horse's birthday tomorrow, so they all turn another year older. Exciting time, obviously, more so for the babies, I guess. And you've had a few of those yearlings who are turning two tomorrow, jumping out during the week. What were your thoughts on those jump outs?
Yeah, I thought they went really well. They weren't asked to do a lot, and they hadn't had any gallops leading up into it. So to do what they did, I was quite pleased. And they'll go to the paddock on Monday just for a short couple of weeks, and then that'll give me time to get them back and then prep them up and see if they're likely to be able to run early or not. So but very pleased with all their characteristics, and their nature and the way they've handled their workload so far.
Very good, mate. All right. Well, best of luck for the weekend, and yeah, let's hope the guys take advantage of those good draws.
Good on you, Adam. Thanks very much.